Peter Griffin has done a lot of questionable things over the years, but what if I told you his worst behavior wasn't just stupidity or cartoon chaos? It was aimed right at the person he claims to love most. Lois Griffin isn't just Peter's wife, she's his favorite target. And the truth is, when you really start counting the ways he's treated her, it stops being funny real fast. There's a reason people call Peter Griffin one of the most toxic husbands in television history. Sure, Family Guy thrives on dark humor and exaggerated violence, but Peter's relationship with Lois goes beyond punchlines. It's a pattern, a mix of physical, emotional, and even financial abuse that somehow gets laughed off every week. But when you line them all up, episode after episode, it paints a genuinely disturbing picture. Let's start with the most obvious one, the physical stuff. Because when Peter decides to use his body instead of his brain, Lois is usually the one who ends up hurt. In the courtship of Stewie's father, it starts out harmless enough. Lois tells Peter to bond with Stewie. Seems sweet, right? Except Peter notices Stewie laughs when Lois gets accidentally hit by something.
Oh, Peter, can you reach that box of rice? Ow!
Oh, sorry, Lois. oh, that rice got you, bitch.
That one tiny laugh sends Peter's brain straight into chaos mode. Suddenly, he's throwing cans at Lois's face like it's a game. He sprays her with a garden hose, knocks her down the stairs, and even shoves her into the trunk of a car, all while Stewie records it like some twisted home movie. It's supposed to be a joke about father-son bonding. But let's be honest, that's just televised domestic abuse. And it doesn't stop there. In Da Boom, Peter's paranoia about Y2K spirals out of control. He locks the entire family in the basement, and when Lois refuses to play along, he literally pushes her down a flight of stairs.
Peter, if you want to stay here, that's fine. But we're going to the party. Kids?
Honey, are you pregnant?
No.
His excuse? He's protecting them. It's the kind of thing that gets a laugh track, until you realize the man just assaulted his wife because she wanted to go to a New Year's Eve party. Then there's Peter's lost youth. The Griffins go to Red Sox fantasy camp. Lois gets good at baseball. Too good. She starts getting attention, having fun, rediscovering herself. Peter, feeling insecure, decides to fix that by tackling her full force during a drill and snapping her leg. He celebrates afterward like he's the hero of the game. Lois is lying on the ground in agony, and Peter's cracking jokes about his big league slide. That's not comedy. That's a husband who can't stand to see his wife shine. And it somehow gets worse. In Deep Throats, Peter spots Lois driving and tells Brian to ram her. Not metaphorically, literally ram her car. Then he pulls out a gun, shoots her tires, and laughs when she crashes. He calls it a prank. In any real-world scenario, that's attempted murder. But in Quahog, it's just another Wednesday. What's wild is that even the show's writers sometimes hint at how messed up it is, but Peter never learns, and Lois never truly calls him out in a lasting way. It's as if her suffering resets every episode, like the show's running on a toxic loop. But physical pain is only part of it. The emotional damage Peter inflicts runs deeper and lasts longer. In Model Misbehavior, Lois tries to relive her youth as a model. She's confident, excited. For once, something's about her. Peter can't stand it. He mocks her, sabotages her gigs, and turns her dream into a sideshow. When she finally snaps and tells him off, Peter responds with jealousy and slut-shaming.
You know, I don't mind so much that you're aging. It's just the way you're shoving it down my throat.
Screw you, Peter.
Not today. Wow!
Instead of being happy for her, he makes her feel like she's done something wrong for wanting a life outside the house. That's not just insecurity, that's control. Then there's Lois comes out of her shell. Lois is turning 40, nervous about aging. Peter plans a birthday speech that should have been heartfelt. Instead, it's one long roast about how her body's falling apart. He compares her to a farm animal and even jokes about her sex life in front of their friends.
But you're still my reliable old plow horse who's there each day to pull the plow, to help around the barn, and let the husband horse slap a batch into her now and then. Well, I guess that's it. I love you, sweetheart.
Lois laughs it off for a second, then breaks. That one speech sends her into a full-on midlife crisis. She changes her look, her attitude, everything, because the man who's supposed to love her reminded her in public that he doesn't see her as beautiful anymore. Peter does this constantly, tearing Lois down just enough to keep her dependent on him. When she gains weight in sibling rivalry, he mocks her at restaurants, calling her fat wife, loud enough for strangers to hear.
Sorry, fat wife coming through. Sorry, excuse me, fat wife. Hold on a sec. All right, bring her through.
When she loses confidence, he guilt trips her. And when she finally stands up for herself, he finds a way to make her feel guilty about his feelings. That's classic emotional abuse, shifting blame until the victim apologizes for being hurt. And it's not just words. Peter actively manipulates Lois's emotions. After his vasectomy, he claims he's not a man anymore and refuses to touch her.
We haven't had sex since your vasectomy.
I just don't feel like it, Lois, seeing as how I'm not a real man anymore.
Honey, it was just a simple operation. It's no reason to give up on your sex life.
I don't know, Lois. I'm just not feeling it anymore.
She feels rejected and lonely, so she eats for comfort. Peter then turns her pain into a fetish, encouraging her to eat more because he's turned on by her insecurity. It's twisted. He creates her shame and then exploits it for his own pleasure. By the end of that episode, Lois has a heart attack. That's how far Peter's jokes go. From verbal humiliation to literal life-threatening consequences. And yet the cycle resets every time. Peter's neglect is another form of abuse that often goes unnoticed because it's quieter, but it's there in almost every episode. In North by North Quahog, Lois wants to reconnect. She buys new sheets, plans a romantic getaway. Peter ruins it by insulting her in the most demeaning way imaginable, calling her disgusting names under the excuse of dirty talk. When she protests, he laughs it off. Later, he nearly kills her by reading a comic book while driving, crashing the car, and blaming her for yelling.
You hear me, you ridiculous man? You're... Whoa!
Peter, what the hell is wrong with you? I fall asleep for 10 minutes and you plow the car into a tree?
That's not carelessness, that's contempt. Or take petard. Peter takes an IQ test, gets labeled mentally challenged, and uses it as a free pass to do whatever he wants. One of his stunts ends with him dumping boiling fryer oil all over Lois.
No freaking way. The fryer later. Oh, I am so taking this. Uh-oh.
She ends up in the hospital, completely wrapped in bandages. Peter visits, not to apologize, but to tell her he's found free pudding in the cafeteria. It's the kind of cruelty that hides behind stupidity, and that's what makes it even worse. He's weaponized his own idiocy. And when Lois does something empowering, Peter finds a way to twist it back into mockery. In Lethal Weapons, Lois learns martial arts to protect herself. Instead of being proud, Peter turns her into a carnival attraction, charging strangers to fight her in their backyard.
Come one, come all. She floats like a butterfly and stings like when I pee.
Peter, I am not a sideshow attraction. At least not anymore.
Later, he even tricks her into fighting people at a bar for his entertainment. She tells him to stop and he laughs. Her strength, her skill, all reduced to a sideshow act. That's how Peter operates. Any moment where Lois finds control, he finds a way to take it away. It hits its peak in Baby, You Knock Me Out. Peter literally forces Lois into boxing for money. She doesn't want to fight, but he volunteers her anyway, even molds her hand to fake her signature. When she refuses, he blindfolds her, tells her they're going on a date, and reveals it's another boxing match.
You know what? I'm tired of this. I booked you a boxing match.
Son of a bitch, damn it, Peter. I told you I don't want to be a boxer. Who the hell do you think you are?
There you go. Use that anger.
She's furious, humiliated, and exhausted. And what does Peter do? Tells her to use that anger. That line says everything. Peter doesn't see Lois as a person. She's a prop in his world. Someone to punch, to profit off, to manipulate until she breaks. And when you think it can't get darker, Peter brings financial abuse into the mix. In When You Wish Upon a Weinstein, a salesman scams him with volcano insurance. Peter pays for it with Lois's emergency savings, the only money she's been quietly setting aside for the family. When she confronts him, he laughs it off like it's no big deal. Meg needs glasses? Doesn't matter, because Peter protected them from lava in Rhode Island.
Peter, did you take the money from the family jar?
Who, me? Yes, me. Couldn't be. Then who? Yeah, I did it. I bought us volcano insurance.
Then, in lottery fever, Peter takes out a second mortgage on their house to buy hundreds of thousands of fake lottery tickets. When Lois begs him to stop, he calls her negative.
We are gonna be rich.
There are thousands of lottery tickets here. Where did you get the money for all these?
Simple. I took out a second mortgage on a house.
They lose everything. The house, the money, their stability. And again, Lois is the one left trying to hold the family together. Peter never faces real consequences, not once. What's haunting is that through all of this, Lois stays. Sometimes the show hints at her frustration. She'll yell, storm out, even flirt with someone else, but she always comes back. That's what makes it tragic. She's stuck in the cycle that so many real people face, the normalization of abuse wrapped in humor, and That's just how he is. Family Guy plays Peter's behavior for laughs, but the pattern mirrors something all too real. The insults, the neglect, the manipulation. It's the kind of behavior people excuse because it's just jokes or just stress. But that's how it starts. And Lois, she's the textbook example of someone whose boundaries have been eroded one punchline at a time. There's a moment in The Ghost That Stole Christmas when Peter finds a gray hair on Lois's head. He points it out, smirks, and says he doesn't mind that she's aging. He just hates how she's shoving it down his throat. That single comment shatters her confidence. Later, she admits to cheating, not out of desire, but desperation. She wanted to feel wanted. That line sums up their entire marriage. Peter breaks her down, and she spends every episode trying to rebuild herself in the same house that keeps tearing her apart. So after all that, yeah, Peter Griffin might not be winning Husband of the Year anytime soon, but let's be real, we're not exactly watching Family Guy for healthy relationship goals. We're here for chaos, chicken fights, and a guy who thinks volcano insurance in Rhode Island is a smart investment. Peter's treatment of Lois? It's a lot. He's tossed her downstairs, crashed her car, sabotaged her dreams, and somehow turned I love you into Lois. Shut up. And yet, every episode, they hit the reset button like it's The Sims. No consequences, just another ridiculous adventure. But maybe that's the joke. Lois isn't just a wife. She's a superhero in pearls. The woman has survived more cartoon trauma than Wile E. Coyote and still shows up with a clean shirt and a passive-aggressive smile. At this point, we're not sure if she's in love or just legally trapped in Quahog's HOA. And Peter? He's not evil. He's just aggressively dumb with a side of emotional wrecking ball. Somehow we keep laughing. Not because we support the madness, but because Family Guy is basically a sitcom fever dream where logic checked out in season 3. Yes, it's all exaggerated, but somewhere in between the absurdity and the cutaway gags, there's a tiny twisted mirror, one that reflects how sitcoms used to treat women, as nags, sidekicks, or obstacles to man-child greatness. Luckily, we're getting smarter, or at least slightly more self-aware. So does Peter Griffin cross the line? Constantly. Do we still watch? Absolutely. Because let's face it, for all his flaws, Peter is a disaster we can't look away from. And Lois, she's the glue, the grace, and probably the only reason Quahog hasn't exploded yet. So give it up for Lois Griffin, the real MVP of Family Guy. If you want more deep dives like this, the kind that breaks down what's hiding behind the laugh track, like, share, and subscribe. There's a lot more to unpack.